Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of the weapons of hot dogs, horseshoes and hand grenades. Today we're gonna take a look at a revolver, and if you've seen all my videos you might recognize this. This looks a lot like... a moment. This is also gonna reveal which one it is. I mean, obviously you know which one it is, you've seen the title. This revolver. They're very similar looking revolvers. This is the Webley Fosbery. It's a very early... how do I say this? It's a very early semi-automatic revolver. And it is also one of very few semi-automatic revolvers. There aren't a lot. Most are just double action or single action, you know, like the original Webley. So the Webley Fosbery, I believe a Colonel Fosbery in 1895-ish. He came up with this thing. And it's just... this thing converted to be semi-automatic. There are two versions, and we have this one here, which uses the same cartridge as the regular Webley. And I am dropping everything because I am clumsy. And that's 455 Webley. It has a handy little full moon clip for your quick loading. So, Webley made this early days of semi-automatic pistol. So in 95, what do you have? You have the C95, the Mauser pistol, but big, clunky. Actually, let's get some pistols here for reference. And you might think, semi-automatic pistol, that's stupid. But let's get these things into reference. So, C95, I know it exists. Oh, it's the C96. My mistake. I mean, pretty big and unwieldy. Okay. What other options do we have? We have the C93 Borchardt. Again, big and unwieldy. And these are also expensive weapons. Granted, the Fosbery wasn't cheap either, if I remember right. Okay, what do we have? Ah, we have, of course, the Bergmans. Yeah, they're kind of underpowered. They weren't great either. Okay, what else do we have? Remember, this is before 1900, so there's no 1911s. There's not even a 1900. Browning didn't really do his pistols things. What do we have regarding pistols? I don't think anything really. I mean... the Showway's muzzle loading, a nice flintlock. Bolt actions, no. Well, there were derringers, but I mean, there were 2 shots and you were done. So, really, you were stuck with just a revolver. So, the problem you have, of course, is how do you improve a revolver? Too clunky, too clunky, too clunky. Well, you make it semi-automatic. So, the Fosbery, he based it off of the Webley, which I have lying here somewhere, and made some changes to make it, well, better. So, as you can see, there are some differences visually. You can see this little cut here. Like, here you have the little grip thingy. Here, it isn't. And that's because this is where the revolver reciprocates, because this whole thing, whole bit, the cylinder and everything moves back. It's a recoil operated pistol. There are some grooves in the cylinder, and if you look closely down here, of course this is not completely represented in game. As you can see, the revolver, the cylinder is moving. I believe that would not be correct accurately. There's a little nub here that aligns with this track, and to cock the revolver, again not in game, I don't blame Anton for it. It's a lot of work. You would have to move just like with, you know, a slide pistol. You pull that back. With the real thing, you would have to pull the whole top. You would pull it back, let it forward, and now you would be ready to go. And then when you shoot, as you can see, in real life, it would go faster. The whole assembly moves. And when you're empty, of course, pop it open, So in a way, it's an improvement over this because, well, you don't get that double action deal when you pull every time, or have to cock it yourself. You always just get a single action. There's single action. You have to pull double action every time. Single action, single action, single action, etc. Of course, it comes at some very big drawbacks. But we've been talking about this gun now. Let's talk a bit about it. Its features. So, as I said, it's a recoil-operated handgun. It has a, well, actually not a very tiny V-notch. This has a bit bigger U-notch, easier sights to use. But, it's usable, just not ideal. It has a single action, double action trigger in-game, but it's really just a single action. Break open up top. Comes with a moon clip. You can of course individually load, but I'm lazy, so I'm not gonna. It has, uniquely, this little bar. And you might wonder, hey, that's not on the original Webley. Oops, wrong button. That should be a safety. But I guess possibly that's not implemented in-game. But it is supposed to be a safety. Because unlike the Webley was supposed to be carried like this. Hammer down. Yeah, and that's how it was safely carried. The Fosbery was supposed to be carried with a hammer up. So to be able to safely carry, you have a safety, disconnects the trigger, and you're good to go. And that's really it for the Fosbery. It's just a Webley. It's mostly similar, as you can see. It did come in two versions, I should note. One in 38 Special, I believe. Don't quote me on that. And of course this one in 455 British. It saw some limited service in the end in the Boer War, in the First World War, and it was listed in the Webley catalog till 1939, I believe. It did have some drawbacks though. It was expensive. It was heavy. It was kind of clunky, this whole thing. And of course semi-automatic pistols were also kind of starting to get in a thing when it got in production. I didn't mention production date. Production date was somewhere in 1900 something. I'm not going to say any number with confidence because I don't remember. But in the 1900s, production began. Well, in the 1900s, you started getting things like, you know, the pocket hammer 1903. Browning started to enter the market, and the Luger went from that ugly thing to, you know, this thing, a lot more handy, you know. So kind of stiff competition. It also had some drawbacks. It was very susceptible to dirt, so if you got dirt in here, especially bad for World War I, that's very infamously muddy, you know, it would jam up the system and, well, you're out of luck. This thing, not as big of a problem. Dirt is, with any weapon, potentially a problem. So it didn't really sell well. It was too complex. You had to have some recoil springs and such. It got expensive, complex. So limited use by British officers who privately bought them. If I'm not wrong, British officers at the time would privately have to buy their own pistol. But what I would recommend, I'm going to end the history lesson now. Take a look at Forgotten Weapons. Ian has a great video on this, and I believe potentially CN Arsenal also has a video on this. Would recommend. But anyways, the pistol. It's a Webley. So, in the end, is it a bad pistol? I'm a terrible shot. Let's try that again. I don't think this is sighted properly in-game right now. Oh, it's empty. Should have tested that beforehand. This is I think this got added in the, as of recording, previous build. So yeah. probably not gonna hit that. Oh. Assuming you got the sight sorted out, it's still a solid pistol. Like, especially in game, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just, in real life, didn't turn out to be much of a success. So, with that, I do hope you all enjoyed. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and all of that. And I should also mention, I'm a bit out of the loop. I have not seen this before. This is interesting. I'm gonna have to take a look at this later. I chose this scene just because revolvers and didn't expect to see this. But that's my fault. I haven't kept up with the devlogs. Shame on me, I know. But anyways, I do hope you all enjoyed. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and all of that. And I'll catch you next time. Bye.